So we've looked at this before, but we finalized this this job right here. It came in because it didn't run good, and then it started running okay, and we never did figure out anything on that. But in the process, we discovered an intake leaking oil all over the motor and the valve covers. So you can see that we've cleaned up the valve covers, and we took the intake manifold off and sandblasted and cleaned it up, and then put it back in the paint booth and painted it. Now this is a fuel-injected V8 Jeep CJ7. I'm not sure what the brand is on that. Let me see right quick. It's a Holley Sniper. Oh, that's something. So Holley's the one we usually install. We've had pretty good luck with that. We've been to their clinic and learned how to set them up according to the way they like it done. And we've got this all back together. So I think the only thing that we're waiting on now, we have an exhaust leak that we haven't looked at. We just got it back together. We got it running. For you guys that need help understanding stuff, I see questions all the time. This is the air cleaner. The air comes in right here, goes through the engine, so you catch all the dirt and dust to keep the engine clean as possible. This is where you add oil. This tube comes out like this. You add oil in here, and of course be sure to check your oil. We noticed on this car behind me that it was over full, and that's not a good thing. So make sure that you have the correct amount of oil in there. And as a reminder that most people still don't understand is that on these older motors they need zinc. So if we buy oil with zinc, we buy Joe Gibbs driven 1550. 15 is the designation for the viscosity, meaning how quickly it pours. The 50 means it's thicker. So it by itself, as it gets hot, it gets thicker. What does that do? Well, that makes an older motor seal up better. As engines get hot, they get loose inside and they tend to lose oil pressure. So if you got a thicker oil, it makes everything stay together a little bit better. So we do 1550 Joe Gibbs driven. There's some other oils that people recommend like Rotella, Valvoline I think makes a racing oil. We just like the 1550. Now, when you're talking about your new car, you want to always stay with whatever the factory recommends. So a lot of times because of the tolerances in the newer motors, they want an exact 25, 30. So be sure that you put in there whatever it is that they recommend so you don't do damage to your motor. So that's what we're doing here. You can see this. This is something that we do. We check for leaks when we're done. So this is a way to check to make sure, because the intake manifold does have what we call a water jacket, meaning that water circulates through the engine into the intake manifold. So we sealed that back up, and we want to make sure that it stays sealed. So we put pressure on there with this air pump. And that air pump works like this. It's pretty heavy right now, but it pumps up, and you can see we're in this area, and then we'll just leave it set here for 30 minutes. If there's a leak, the pressure would drop. So if you guys got leaks on your cars in your cooling system, which means radiator, this is a good part or a good tool to have. I'm sure you can get these on Amazon or Summit or any of those places. But great tool. We have a lot of these in the shop. I've had one for years. I've got more adapters, I think, than there are seasoning salts at Tom Thumb grocery stores. So yeah, they're very common things that you need to have. So we'll move on to the next project.